Now, I am African American. I am a descendant of the first black people that settled here in Western Canada over 110 years ago. I have some of my kin here today. Lietta, Crystal's daughter, my husband. And everybody is asking, what can I do? So this is for everybody's information, but particularly for my people, my kin, direct and indirect, and I mean all of the people that I see standing before me of African descent, now in the diaspora. Those who are allies, you may listen and learn, but my people are dying. My people are under attack. We first need the strategies of survival, since these things are being aimed at us. Now, all I got to say to y'all about that is, you win this now. I could stand up here and wax poetic, but I'm practical. I could jump up and shout and get you all stirred up, but I know better than to play into their hand. So here are some steps for those who are tired of hoping and praying, because I can tell you with all confidence that we have been hoping and praying for 400 years. That's a mighty long time to be on your knees waiting for change to come, and the days move into decades, and the decades morph into centuries, and the centuries are beginning to morph into millennia, and the change has yet to come. Here are some practical steps. I was asked by a reporter earlier, are you hopeful? I said, hope is not the currency, the emotional currency I am currently trading in. It is resolve. I spoke to some activist kin in Louisiana this morning, in Baton Rouge. I was assured by my kin there that they are with us as we are with them. And they fully know that every word I speak will transmute space and time and manifest not only in their territory, but in ours. There is a toolkit that was created stateside by the Center for Popular Democracy and Policy Link. The website is justiceinpolicing.com. We will also make that available on the event page. They have articulated some of these steps we can take directly from those involved in the grassroots address and response to these issues. justiceinpolicing.com. Now, although it's stateside, it can be adapted to here. And I will just come right out and say this, that my people here have yet to develop a strong political voice in this province. I know my people's histories, I know the reasons for that. I'm thankful for Brother Shepherd. I'm thankful for those, I'm seeing more names start to be put forward of those who are interested in the electoral process. However, we have never developed a strong collective voice. It's hard to know where to start. In all actuality, here are some areas we may choose to begin to flex that collective muscle. And there's a very good reason for that. Now, we are concerned. We cried over the bloodshed of our kin stateside. Do you know that the last mass lynchings that took place in Curvin, Texas in the 1930s, just yards behind my family's properties, it was very much a Rosewood type situation, except, baby, let me tell you, this wasn't no Hollywood. It traumatized my family, my grandfather, forever changed the trajectory of the lives we would then go on to live. What stopped it? It was international pressure. Had it not been for the outcry, for the eyes of the world turned to the high frequency of these mass terroristic attacks against African Americans, I dare say it would have been a long time coming before the frequency began to gain space. Yes, we can do things from abroad. Allies will be needed. Even without being elected officials, we can put pressure on elected officials. Let us find our voice. How about this? We can raise a voice to these elected officials and direct specific action to stop criminalizing everything. Let's start there. Here's some stats for you. In California, there was 1,000 new crimes added in the past 25 years. In Michigan, there was 3,102. And in New York City, there are over 10,000 crimes and enforceable rules. Do all of these warrant criminal punishment? What if I lost a little bit of weight and my pants began to sag? Was that enforceable by criminal punishment? Well, in some of these states, it sure is. In practical matters, 90% of policing's time and resources get spent on these, more trivial kind of crimes, leaving only 10% of their time and their resources left for violent crimes, which we know affect us all. It's in everybody's interest to stop policing everything. And guess what? Of the 80% of those lesser infractions, guess who gets nailed with those? Black and brown people. How did we know that? City charters can be changed to limit the offenses that police are often given quotas to enforce. How many of y'all know that policing black and brown people is a numbers game? And the fines that are incurred on the back of black and brown, often poor people, gains those cities a lot of money. Stop using poor people to fatten city budgets. Enough said. How about this one? Raise a voice to the elected officials to treat addicts and the mentally ill like they need help, not privatize, institutionalize, corporate Wall Street-backed prisons. They need help, for God's sake. Actually ban racist policing. Raise that to your elected officials. Tell me something here, and you can just shout out an answer that comes to the top of your head. What happens here in this city if you complain of the racist treatment you may receive at the hands or at the result of an interaction with an officer? What happens here? I found nothing too. What happens stateside when one of our kin raises those same kind of complaints for racist treatment at the hands of officers they interact with? Ranging from nothing to death. Perhaps nothing is wished for, given the options on the table. There needs to be an independent process of investigation by qualified individuals who possess critical race analysis skills. And let me tell you something, just placing somebody who is black and brown on one of these commissions is not good enough. Melanin within itself is not good enough. They need to have critical race analysis skills. There also needs to be a wide definition of bias and the intersectionality that it incurs. These reports when they are investigated by this independent commission, then should become part of the officer's evaluation. Create a paper trail. Collect data obsessively. Now, what do we know about the scope of racist treatment and targeting? What can we go and access even in our city today? Crickets. I don't know either. Okay? How accessible are the stats? I don't know either. We need a transparent and searchable database of stop and frisks, use of force, and absolutely killings. Race, agenda, time, place of the victim or the complainant, all included. These factors are important. How about this as something we can do and the pressure we can put on our elected officials? Establish a use of force national standard. Somebody say common sense ain't so common.
Common sense ain't so common, Junetta.
A national standard. All departments should issue reports on their use of force to see that it aligns with a national minimum standard. We don't just want to know the levels of force that are being randomly and wantonly executed of people of color around the continent. We want to know that there is compliance with a national standard use of minimum force. And last, but certainly not least, the one that I chose to select to communicate with you this evening is to train the police to be members of the community, not militarized patrolmen. Currently in the States, they are taught, receiving and training 60 hours of tactical training in how to handle a gun, 8 hours in how to deal with somebody who may be mentally ill, 8 hours in conflict de-escalation. What about training in culture, diversity, youth development, bias, racism, crisis intervention, LGBTQ and other assorted issues pertaining to people that have different gender identities, sexual harassment, sexual abuse? There is a very long list of opportunities to learn. Do not frame it as a burden of process. Frame it as an opportunity to learn, to be the best equipped human being I can possibly be to interact with people who depend on me, as you say, for their safety and protection, as an understanding, wise, informed member of the same community. And please, might I add this, bring in some credible people to facilitate these learnings, because I've seen some real bullshit happen around that too. We are in need of support and backup. And I bring this to you directly from Louisiana this evening. I was asked to ask you to be that backup. They know they got me. They know my number. But y'all, they need to know that they got you too. Thank you.